We can speak now to Alan Orr. He's the former president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, joining us live from Tampa in Florida. Good to have you with us, Mr. Orr. I assume, as an immigration lawyer, you'd be in favour of this decision by the Supreme Court?
So not just as an immigration lawyer, but as an American citizen, to understand that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So I'm more celebrating the fact that we now can say that the executive branch can't change the Constitution on a whim.
Can the executive branch, as President Trump seems to suggest now, simply sidestep the Supreme Court and change it via legislation in Congress?
So I think the ruling, things have been confused, and it's 196 pages. So I think it's a lot of people haven't read it and I haven't digested all of it yet, but I'm clear about a couple of things. So the ruling was 6-3. The constitutional foundation was 5-4, which means that 5 of the justices said, because of the 14th Amendment, this cannot happen. So legislatively, that won't be able to do it. Mr. Kavanaugh's, Justice Kavanaugh, outlines how they might be able to pass legislation, but legislation is not enough to change the Constitution. So the answer is no, he can't. What he is doing is signaling to his base that he's still against immigrants and children being born here. But this has been the law of the country for over 150 years. I mean, since our beginning, almost this understanding about this birthright citizenship. So if something bad were going to happen because of it, it would have already happened. And if your problem is undocumented immigrants, then solve undocumented immigrants. Don't change the Constitution.
That may well be a welcome message to his base, but opinion polls seem to suggest that more broadly across American society there is less and less support for this drive towards anti-immigration policy, the Trump mass deportation policies and so on. How damaging is this to Donald Trump's standing, to his policies in this particular realm?
So, I don't think it's damaging to him at all, because all he needs to do is put up a fight, right? To sort of say he's fighting for this concept of anti-immigration and limitations. I mean, I know you have another story today about South Africa and their sort of push about immigrants. The concept that people are a problem is part of the issue of a global war right now. People aren't the problem. We don't have a population problem in the United States. What we have is an economic and a choice problem. We're choosing to spend money in places rather than on the humans and the citizens that are here. So the concept that removing people will solve your foundational problems has never worked in the history of this country. So setting up this sort of enemy of people who are undocumented or documented. I mean, just last week, we took people who are in TPS, 350,000 individuals, and took their status away from them. So it's not about having status in the country. It's about something else. It's a purification of the country. And that's the real problem here is who gets to be an American.
I mean, for an audience outside the United States, yes, of course, immigration is a big deal in many countries. We know that. But for the audience outside the United States, give us a sense of what it tells us about the state of politics, the state of attitudes in the United States today towards immigrants, towards foreigners, that this issue, this core issue to the Constitution, the birthright, the right of people born in the United States to citizenship, can even become a legal and a publicly debated issue?
I think, things are in question and things are in flux. To make immigration a question right now for people outside the United States is still a welcoming country. It is much harder to get to this country, specifically if you're coming for humanitarian reasons or if you need to seek asylum within this country. We have seen a tightening of immigration from around the globe, specifically from poor countries and from Black and brown countries. So we want a certain type of immigrant, such as the white South African or someone who's able to pay $1 million for a visa, which isn't the American promise. It isn't where we got to where we are today. We have a moment right now where we have this restriction of immigration, but we're also celebrating the World Cup within our country, and we get to see the global platform of the different nations on display and to realize we're not much different than anyone else.
Alan Orr, thanks for reminding us of that important context. Former president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association joining us from Tampa, Florida. Many thanks.